you have discovered through the expansion of the internet world. I am Johnny Allen, and this is the Johnny Allen 30-Minute Podcast. We're going to be talking about your life, my life, and the world today. So sit back, relax, grab something if you need it, and let's do this. Yeah, we're rolling. Hey, welcome to the 30-Minute Podcast, the Johnny Allen 30-Minute Podcast. I am Johnny Allen, and it is the last day of March 2022. So there you go, the last day of March 2022. I hope you guys are doing good out there today. I tell you what, thanks for joining. If you have never joined before, welcome. I drink coffee today. I am drinking the Black Rifle Company coffee. Black Rifle Coffee Company, rather. It's a vintage roast. It's very good. It's good coffee. If you haven't found Black Rifle, I suggest you go get it. You can go get it at Cabela's. You can order it online. It goes to a good cause. It's good coffee. There's to Black Rifle. First of all, I want to shout out to the Facebook crowd that follows the podcast on the Facebook side. You guys threw out a lot of good compliments and comments last week's podcast that things I talked about. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that. That was nice. It was nice when I read them all through and yeah. It's kind of a sobering day today. First of all, I didn't go to work today because I had to go to the doctor again. It just seems like the older you get, the more you got to go. Not to be talking about too much of my personal life. I had to go. I had a foot issue. Still got a foot issue, but I think we're fixing it. I had a little bit of what you guys call gout or inflammation in my foot. All of a sudden it just happened. And could hardly walk. I managed. It was coming on Tuesday pretty strong. I made through Tuesday and Wednesday. I woke up this morning about 2 a.m. Severe pain. It was turning red, swelling up. So I said, better get to the doctor. So called the boss, had to not show up, but I feel pretty good now. So I'll be back in the AM tomorrow, which will be Friday, which will be April Fool's Day. I tell you what I got. First of all, just talk about everyday life. That's all I do. Talk about everyday life situations that we stumble across. So what I've stumbled across in the last, I can't tell you how long. Last month, 2 months, whatever. Okay, we'll just go over the list real quick. Traffic still sucks. And I don't mean to complain on this podcast, guys. I don't. I vent a little bit. I suppose I vent a lot. I vent about things that are going on. I'm an older dude. I'm getting older, And I just observe things that are going on. So I'm going down the list without trying to sound too negative. But this is true stuff, man. The traffic sucks, especially people that drive on the highway. They're insane. That's all I gotta say. Comment below if you disagree or, first of all, most of the speed limit around the loop in our city is 55. Just around the loop. That's a joke. I talked about this a couple years ago. That's a joke. No one does 55. If you do 55 miles an hour, you might as well just be sitting still, literally. I do 70 and get past like I'm sitting still. The traffic's a joke. People just cut you off, real quick. No turn signals. They just drive reckless abandon. That's kind of the way the world is right now. Reckless abandon. No consideration, no thoughts on how other people feel or anything like that. If you have an opinion, it's wrong. If you say that you're feeling bad, they don't believe you. That's all I got to say. The people that are suffering, these are things that, number one on the list of traffic. Okay, traffic is bad. Number two on my list is when somebody is suffering with something, whether it be some type of illness, a physical illness, a mental illness, whatever it is, they have a hardship. Why does other people not take that seriously? Why is that? Just a question. Comment below. Why don't people take that serious? Or why do they joke about someone else's heartaches and sufferings? I don't understand that. Okay, that's number two. Number three. Oh my gosh. This is kind of a touchy one because I just had this happen today. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. That happens with so many people. I can go down the list from supervisors to spouses, to family members, to friends, to strangers, whatever. Do as I say, not as I do. That's a pet peeve of mine. If you're going to try to correct me with something, then don't do the same damn thing. And then tell me I'm wrong when you're doing it. It makes no sense, does it? Comment below. Again, the Black Rifle Coffee Company. Got it right that time. Good coffee. Go out there and get it. I'll start sharing different coffees as I go. For a long time, I endorsed CWE, which was formerly Diesel. You guys probably wonder, if you haven't seen me for a while, why I'm not doing CWE anymore, because Tim shut his doors. He's out of business. But anyway, yeah, number one, like I said, traffic, terrible. People drive. They don't know how to drive right. They drive terrible. That's number one. Number one pet peeve of mine. Number two, going to the pet peeves, I guess. Number two, like I said, the pet peeve I named number two is, just don't get down on people, and when they're having heartaches and trouble and stuff like that. Number three, don't make fun of them. Number three, do as I say, not as I do. I don't get that one. Okay, so number four. And this one's tough because, jealous and envy, right? Everybody, wrestles with that jealous and envy thing, right? Boy, so-and-so makes a lot of money. I wish I did, blah, blah, blah. I used to think that way. I may still be maybe, I don't know, a little bit envious maybe sometimes, maybe a little bit of people that have done well, successful in life, and more power to them, and God bless them, whatever. But as I get older, I don't really care if I've made $50 in a day or if I've made $50 million. Now, if I made $50 million in a day, yeah, I probably wouldn't have to juggle, finances as much, or even worry about my finances that much, right? Especially if I'm disciplined and don't spend a lot of money. Some people that make $50 million a day have financial problems still because they spend too much, but that's a whole nother podcast. But my point is, with this number four is the jealousy and envy thing. Had a conversation this morning before I went to the doctor. Casual conversation, won't get into it. The person's talking about, I know this person that I used to be friends with, and blah, blah, blah. And, the kids are doing really well. One kid makes, brings down 6 figures a year, doing really well. And boy, you could tell, because of the nursery they have and all this stuff. It's like with me, I really don't care. It's more power to those people. But, really, in the way I look at it too, what's going on in the world today, everywhere, especially Ukraine right now, because Ukraine's in the news, and they should be in the news. What's going on in the world? Like I said, especially Ukraine. People are running for their lives, trying to find shelter. People are getting killed. And then, we're kind of talking about and making a big, talking about people that are making 6 figures a year. Boy, really, I don't know. I mean, that's okay. I just feel like when there's stuff going on like that over there, I'm humbled about everything I have and almost feel like not deserving in some ways, or feel like I should help, which I have helped the best way I know how with like the Ukraine situation. I saw an interview with a Marine from the United States that had volunteered. He was out of the Marines. He retired, and he was honorably discharged from the Marines. He did his time, and he saw what was going on, gave up his day job, and said, "You know what? I'm going over there and I'm going to fight and everything." And there's been a lot of people like that throughout the world that have picked up arms, left their houses, their comfort zone, right? They might even be leaving their six-figure jobs, I don't know, and going over to the fight a war for people they don't personally know. Now, I think that's just amazing. And they interviewed the guy, the Marine, and I salute him for the service for his service. And they asked him point blank, "Why would you do something like that?" And he said, "You know what? He felt kind of the way I do. I just felt I just couldn't sit back and feel like I'm enjoying my nice life and everything's comfortable and watching what's going on over there without doing something. I just felt like and people giving up their freedoms and stuff and trying to not giving up their freedoms, but fighting for their freedoms, trying not to give up their freedoms. And he felt like he was compelled to go over there and help to preserve their rights for them, for the rights of all people, I mean, it's just a dedication, unbelievable. And, I feel like that's what, as I get older, guys and gals out there that might be watching today, as I get older, I feel like these things are more important, especially with some health issues I had come up lately. I never take anything for granted. I look at the big picture now. Comment below if you guys are at that stage of your life. You don't even have to be older to realize these things or live this way. That, making the six-figure job. I mean, like I said, that's great. But if you don't, is it the end of the world, or does it make you a lesser person, a lesser human being because you don't make that kind of money? Are you happy, first of all, making that kind of money? You might be. A lot of people are. Are you just as happy if you made $35,000 a year as opposed to $668,000 a year or $700,000 a year, right? You guys get where I'm going with this. I think spiritually, your soul, your spirit, just you got to be happy with inside, right? In order for your life to be fulfilled. And you have to have compassion and feel for other people that are getting driven out of their homes and having diseases. And what I was getting at with this is like, as I get older, I've had a few health scares, right? And I don't take anything for granted. Like my foot all of a sudden just started hurting. I couldn't walk. I had not planned on missing work today. It was unplanned. It was unplanned when I had COVID in February to miss work. I didn't plan that. It was unplanned. It was unplanned when I had things go haywire with my eye and severe headache and was hospitalized for 4 days in December of last year. That wasn't planned. These things are not planned. These things just happen. And I don't, like I said, don't take it for granted. I try to eat pretty healthy and all that good stuff, but it's just a lot of mine is hereditary. And like I said, I'm not getting into it. I'm not talking about me personally. I'm talking about how I feel and how, as I get older, values of life change. When I was younger, a lot younger, I always wanted to be a rock star. I'm still a musician. If you guys look around, you can see some of the stuff. But I always wanted to be this huge rock star. I want to be like Eddie Van Halen or Gene Simmons of Kiss. Maybe not like them, but I wanted to be a rock star like them. I wanted to have the money, the women, the fame, the fortune, all that stuff. And I strived. My brother and I, just striving to make that happen. I mean, doing everything that we know under the sun, throwing money at it, throwing lots of money at it. I'm still throwing money at music, and not making that much in return. I mean, to be honest with you, it's been a horrible investment in my life, but I've enjoyed it, but it's been a horrible investment. I never got the big prize, so to speak. Never did. I think in a way, it was meant to happen that way. I think I'm a believer. I'm a man of faith. I believe in a God. I believe in our God, and I do believe that God protects me. And I think God has protected me from that, because God rest his soul, the drummer of Foo Fighters, and I can't remember his name right now. Forgive me for that. Very talented guy, man. I love his drumming. He's a very talented dude. Just died the 25th of this month from an overdose. And I just feel like that's so terrible and tragic and unnecessary. And I really feel like, the bottom line is, people, you have to keep your head together. You have to be happy no matter what. Whether you feel like you fail, succeed, or somewhere in between, you got to maintain level and maintain those thought processes that say, hey, I'm okay no matter what. And I don't need enhancing drugs, and I don't need big money, and I don't need a trophy wife, and I don't need all these things, the fancy cars, you know what I mean, the materialistic stuff or whatever, or have Brad Pitt looks or whatever, to enjoy your life and be somebody within yourself. Does that make any sense? Comment below if you guys are with me on this, or if you think I'm just far out. I am kind of far out, but to me it makes total sense. And I'm just kind of reflecting today, guys. I listed my pet peeves at the beginning of this podcast, and now I'm just trying to reflect on how I am and why I feel this way about being connected and with the spirit, with the spiritual God, with our God, and just being happy with who you are, basically. I've seen so many times before. And I'm not comparing, women to men or whatever, There's good and bad in everybody, in every sex and whatever. But I see a lot as being a man. I see this a lot in other men, that they'll do everything they can to try to make all this money, work their tails off till they're almost dead, to keep their spouses happy. Usually their wives happy, right? And that's not always the case. Thank goodness it's not. But in a lot of cases, I would say half of the marriages end because the man felt like he couldn't keep up with what the wife's demands were, especially financial. Because if they look at money signs, they just light up. Especially women, they light up a lot. And I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not all women. Thankfully, my wife's not that way. I think that she would like to have a little more money maybe, but she's not like on me to kill myself to get it. I mean, I'm almost killing myself to get what I got, right? And I've been doing that before I met my wife. But I mean, here's the point. Is they'll try to do all these things to please their wives and keep their wives happy. Perfect example of what happened with the Oscar award with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Now, I'm not going to get into that. I didn't even watch it. I care less about that stuff. That's another thing. I care less about all that Hollywood stuff anymore. I used to be all into that stuff. I can't even tell you who the new artists are today. I can't tell you who the new musicians are today. I really just don't know. I don't keep up on it, and it's just my choice. If you like it, that's cool, whatever. But Will Smith did what he did to stand up for his wife. Now, I heard the history. I don't know the history. I just found out the history of his wife and how she had cheated on him and all this stuff. And there's no way I would ever have done that. Just me. I would never done that. First of all, I wouldn't be married to her no more. If my wife did that, it's, adios amigos, right? But that's an example of a man, and sometimes it's the women too. It could be the women too. I've seen it happen. One of the spouses are just trying, to keep the marriage together by working their tails because they want things, because it's all that status thing. You got to make the six figures. When I heard this six-figure term today, it just kind of set me off. Because, and it's not that I'm really jealous or anything. I'm not. I don't care. But when I look at what's going on in Ukraine, and that, like I said, it's great that the person makes six figures. I have nothing against that. I'm not against that person. God love him, right? But I just don't want to, I just can't value I can't even get excited about anything like that anymore. Somebody making six figures, for example, or 5 million or whatever. Lots of money. Not when there's stuff going on in Ukraine and what's going on in the world, and you got people starving and there's a food shortage. A food shortage is going to come up. You guys know I follow Sean James. He's a guy, YouTuber in Canada. It's called My Self-Reliance. I've linked it before. I may link it again. He just came out with one video today. He talked about the food shortages is going to happen. Very interesting. Smart guy. Admire Sean a lot on a lot of things that he does and what he talks about. And he's absolutely right. If you get a chance to watch that, I may post that episode down below if I can find it. I'll link it. But there's so many things going on, people, that are not real good. And, I guess what I'm trying to say is try to get your mind right, even though this stuff's not going real good and everything. It's kind of weird on my thoughts. In a way, I kind of want to be a hermit, which I know is not good. I want to shut myself off from this weird, uncontrollable world that's going on. But I can't, right? I can't. As long as I'm living, I can't. And I hope to live a long time. I don't know. That's up to God. But the point I'm trying to make is I can't cut myself off totally from this world. But I also try not to soak it all in like a sponge either. And all this bad stuff going on, because there's plenty of it. People say, hey, talk about the Will Smith thing. I would have never known if people didn't say anything about it, or if I didn't occasionally hit the news to see what's going on, make sure our world's still in one piece. But I'm happy being good old Johnny Allen. I look back at today. I told my wife, I said, I really don't have any regrets. I always strive to have, made more money, to be the guy or whatever that's supposed to. And now I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? What even is that? Right? What is that? I mean, I think I'd be just happy living in a small little cabin. I'd probably, out in the middle of nowhere, as opposed to living in a huge mansion in the middle of the city. I mean, really, if someone said you got this huge mansion in the middle of Chicago, or you can have this small cabin on 200 acres in the middle of Canada or Alaska, even though it's cold and brittle up there, I'm taking the 200 acres in Alaska or Canada. Just saying. That's just me. It's not for everybody, but it's for me. And the reason why is this. Simply peace and quiet and peace of mind. That's really what it is. What it comes down to, what I'm talking about. Peace of spirit, peace of mind, tranquility. And like I said, I don't want to become a hermit, but I get to where, and I don't know if it's because of the pandemic for the last couple of years, because I lost a good friend to suicide coming up in next week, anniversary of his 2-year anniversary of his passing, which still bothers me to this day, really. But it's a lot of things, and a lot of it is like I said, the social cosmos that's put on you, and it's not a good cosmos sometimes. All the social pressure that's put on you, to make money, to do this, to do that, make sure you're perfect at work, make sure you're perfect here, make sure you drive perfect, make sure you're driving the speed limit, make sure you don't piss people off, try not to get aggravated when people pass you and drive crazy, try not to get aggravated when people make fun of you when you're not feeling good and laughing at you, things like that. I mean, I just, feeling like you're not good enough, all these thoughts and feelings. So sometimes I just want to just, take my good little self and just say, okay, I'm just want peace and quiet, and I want to be away from people and away from all the negativity. Just have peace of mind, quiet, and not be bothered. I know that sounds kind of weird, and I'm sharing this with potentially thousands of people out there. And I'm not that way. I like my quiet time. I like to be with my friends and family too. I need that time too. But I tell you what, there's something to be said about, like I said, the Sean Jameses of the world, where you can where you don't have to worry about punching the clock and working a job and all that stress. He talks about, and he stated today where he lost $270,000 or $175,000, quite a bit of money. I think it was maybe two. Anyway, a lot of money. I lost one time $80,000 out of a 4-year stint. Due to my spouse losing her job, we lost quite a bit of money. I don't think she realized it was that much money, but it was quite a bit of money. But you know what? I did pretty good. I survived it. I pulled us through. I'm pretty proud of that fact. And we're doing okay now. We're doing fine. But you have those hardships in life. And Sean James had that hardship in life where he lost his business and everything, the crash of '08 or whatever. And he warned us that it's going to happen again, and I do believe that. So just be prepared. That's really all I got today. I just was, I don't like it when people, I guess this is number 5 pet peeve. Number 5, I'll go back to pet peeves. Number 5, I guess, is when people assume things. Assume that the reason why something is with you, no matter what it is because, well, you must have done it. Well, that's just the way he is, and when they don't really know you. I just hate assumptions. I just hate assumptions altogether. I don't like it when people, this may be number 6, maybe it ties in with number 5, but number 6 pet peeve of mine. I don't like it when I will say something generally honest to someone, some people, whatever, conversation. And I'll say, well, this is how I think it should be, and this is what's going to happen, and this is that, and whatever. I'm usually right about a lot of things, not always, but I'm usually right. And they'll just right away before they even hear me out, oh, no, you're wrong. Blah, 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 blah. You're not right. Blah, 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 blah. He screwed this up. Blah, 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 blah. They just don't listen. And then the next thing you know, I'm just like, I just shut down, say, okay, whatever. It's your world. I'm just living in it kind of thing. And next thing I know, they come back and go, either they come back and say, wow, John, you're right, or they don't say nothing at all, or what I predicted was true. Whether it be how much merchandise comes in at work to there's going to be a huge pandemic that's going to spread around the globe. And it's going to shut everything down for about a year, I'll get to that. I'll share that story sometime with the pandemic. But wow, 25 minutes into the podcast, guys. Thanks again for joining. But I think where I'm going today with it, on the last Thursday of March on 2022. In case you're watching, Charles, you caught that. And Charles is a good man. Charles knows who he is. Charles is all right. Anyway, the moral of the podcast is today is be happy within yourself. Period. No matter how much money you make or made or make or lose or have made and lost financially, be happy with who you are. If you're blessed to be doing really, really well financially, or you're blessed to have an abundance of something that you're never going to use all of it, to share Sean James's words today, share some of that with a neighbor or someone that really needs it. It's a good thing. Do that. Share it. Don't belittle people. Don't put people down. Don't assume anything about people. If someone's hurting, they're hurting. Okay? If someone's having a problem, they're probably having a problem. Okay? Don't assume that it's just all BS. Because it's not always, and I'll drop the bomb. I'll drop it. Bullshit. It's not. Okay? People have real problems. I am very sympathetic to people that have problems. And I guess that's why it touches me when someone is not like that. That's why I'm pretty sensitive about that kind of thing. I'm sensitive to the world's problems. I'm a kind of a sensitive guy. My wife actually teased me. She said, "John, you're a badass with feelings." That's about true. Because I could be meaner than a junkyard dog, coming from the late great Jim Croce. But I do have a lot of feelings, and I wear my emotions right here, Anyway, thanks for stopping in today, guys. Comment on anything I had to say. Go out and get some Black Rifle coffee. I'll share more coffees. And, thanks for stopping in today. Guests are coming. Steve's coming. He's probably wondering when. But to be honest with you, I've been so doggone busy trying to throw together an agenda and a good show with Steve. It's going to take me a few weeks, but we'll get him on. I got some other people, too. And just because you're doing something by yourself. Now, you guys may not know where I'm going with this, but this kind of shoots out to someone that made a comment to me earlier this week. Just because you always do one thing by yourself doesn't mean that's necessarily a bad thing. If you want to go solo, like with a podcast, it's not a bad thing. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're flawed if you have your own ideas on how you want to run your life. It doesn't always mean you're flawed, that there's something wrong. Must be something wrong because, for instance, if I don't have guests, there must be something wrong. Didn't have guests. That's just an example. No, that's not true. Just be happy with who you are. Don't let that negativity bombard you, man, because I tell you what, it does me. You guys probably see it in my podcast sometimes with the negativity. I talk about it a lot, and I get it off my chest. I give my opinion on it and how to overcome that. I'm going to take a little bit of a hiatus. I will not see you guys next week. I'll be back probably the week after, but I won't be gone for any longer than 2 weeks. It's nothing bad. It's actually something going to be good. I pray. It's going to be good. It's going to be good for good old Johnny Allen. Anyway, you guys stay safe out there. I throw my blessings on everybody, no matter if you're a person of faith or not. I pray for everybody in this world. Okay, everybody. I'm still, of course, praying for the people in Ukraine, right? It's got to be a terrible situation. I couldn't imagine it. Anyway, the good Lord willing, I will see you the week after next. Happy April Fool's Day tomorrow, guys. Hey, do your April Fool's thing tomorrow, right? And but do it nicely. Don't do anything bad. When you're out there on the highway, be a little careful when you're driving. Like I said in my very first podcast, it was probably the most successful one I did. Real quick before I end, the very first podcast I ever did, I talked about bad drivers, and I said, I was a little more colorful on my language back then, but I said, if you're not such a big ass hurry to get where you're going, just get up a little earlier. Just get up a little earlier. Get up, leave earlier. Don't risk your life to killing yourself or somebody else. Anyway, good Lord willing, I'll see you a couple weeks or the week after next. Thanks, guys.